Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Going to be giving you my predicted 11 for Manchester United's rearranged game against Brentford. So I'm going to go with the 4-2-3-1 formation. So in goal, David De Gea. David De Gea was in goal in Manchester United's 2-2 draw against Aston Villa last weekend. De Gea's distribution was poor in that game, but he made some good saves. What a season David De Gea is enduring. He's now back to his best. This season is David De Gea's 11th season at Manchester United, so reflecting on that, he's been a long servant. He's been with us since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. His contract at Manchester United expires next year. David De Gea is one of the highest paid players at the club. You know, he receives £375,000 a week. He has made over 500 appearances for Man United in all competitions, and he's won everything domestically at the football club. Revert back to last summer, De Gea reclaimed the #1 spot back as he decided to cut short his holiday by 2 weeks. When De Gea eventually leaves Manchester United, I think there's a very good chance he'll go back to Spain. The reasons is because he began his footballing career in Spain. His relatives are from Spain. His girlfriend's from Spain. You know, De Gea, born in Spain. And revert back to 2015, he was very close to joining Real Madrid, but due to a fax machine on deadline day, his move to Real Madrid didn't materialise. But De Gea mentioned earlier on this season that he's planning to spend many more years at Manchester United. Right back, I'm going to go with Diego Dalot. Diego Dalot is our first choice right back under Ralph Rangnick. And Wan-Bissaka can't play because he's out with COVID. Diego Dalot played in the 2-2 draw against Aston Villa last weekend. I thought in that game he showed some good attacking intent, but defensively he was poor. Dalot has had some good games though this season, especially under Rangnick. I think there is a chance that he'll leave Manchester United this year. Dalot has been subjected to transfer speculation before. Last season he had a loan spell with AC Milan, so reflecting on that he gained some experience. Manchester United got Diego Dalot from Porto. Man United paid £19 million. Dalot's contract at Man United expires next year. The two centre-backs, I'm going to go with Harry Maguire and Raphael Varane. Harry Maguire will come in for Victor Lindelof. The last game Harry Maguire played was the 3-1 win against Burnley in the final game of last year. Not so long ago, Maguire had an injury. We'll revert back to earlier on this season, he had a calf injury, and towards the end of last season, he had ligament damage in his ankle. Harry Maguire has been very, very poor this season. He's not good enough to represent the club. Revert back to the other week, Harry Maguire spoke out. He admitted that he's sick of Man United's poor form. And he said the Man United players are letting the fans down. And Maguire also said that Rangnick is not all to blame for the poor performances. Maguire certainly wasn't worth the £80 million that Manchester United paid for him. He's the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment and the second most expensive signing at the club. Maguire's been at Manchester United for over 2 years now. Raphael Varane, he played in the 2-2 draw against Aston Villa last weekend. Weren't too good. He was pretty good in the air in the game. Varane could have done much better for both of Aston Villa's goals. Varane did well in the cup game against Aston Villa. Varane has already endured 2 injuries since he signed for Manchester United. He had a hamstring injury not so long ago, and earlier on in the season he had a groin injury, and he was out with that groin injury for a few weeks. Most of the time though, when Varane plays, he seems to make a big difference. Varane is regarded as one of the best centre-halves in the world. He's highly experienced. He's got a good pedigree behind him. Varane won a lot of trophies when he was at Real Madrid. Not only that, he was a long-serving player when he was at Real Madrid. Manchester United got Raphael Varane for 41 million. With add-ons included, we paid around 34 million up front. He's got a contract with Man United until 2025. There's an option of a further year. Left back, I'm going to go with Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw obviously missed the 2-2 draw against Aston Villa last weekend because he was suspended. Obviously, Tellez was playing at left back in the 2-2 draw against Villa. Tellez was pretty good in the first half against Villa, but he was poor in the second half. He was caught out far too many times in that second half. Tellez, though, did get an assist against Villa. We revert back to Luke Shaw. I think Luke Shaw has endured a lot of poor games this season. And I'm shocked in that aspect because revert back to last season, Luke Shaw was superb. Luke Shaw had a couple of injuries earlier on this season and he is injury prone, which is a concern. Shaw's been a Manchester United player for 8 years, so reflecting on that, he's been a long-serving player. So yeah, Luke Shaw at left back. The 2 centre midfielders, I'm going to go with Fred and Scott McTominay. Fred played in the game against Aston Villa last weekend. I thought his pressing was good at times in the game, and obviously Fred got an assist in the game. Fred is a very inconsistent player. Not good enough. He's had his good games this season, don't get me wrong. You know, Manchester United got Fred from Shakhtar Donetsk a few years ago. Man United paid around £50 million for him. McTominay, he obviously missed the game against Aston Villa last weekend because he was suspended. McTominay played in the cup game against Aston Villa. McTominay got man of the match in that game. He scored the only goal of that game, and it was a good header by McTominay. He's done well in his last few games, to his credit. Revert back to 2020, McTominay committed his future to the club because McTominay signed a 5-year contract with Man United. So yeah, McTominay will come in for Matic, because obviously it was Matic that was playing alongside Fred against Villa last weekend. Attacking midfielder, I'm going to go with Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes scored both of Manchester United's goals against Aston Villa last weekend. You know, the first goal from Bruno Fernandes came through a howler from the Aston Villa goalkeeper Martinez. And the second goal from Fernandes came from a poor mistake by Morgan Sanson. Fernandes played very well against Aston Villa last weekend. That's probably the best game he's endured so far this season. Because, you know, Fernandes has endured a lot of poor games this season. He was far superior last season to how he has been so far this season. And I gave you the news on Bruno Fernandes yesterday. The Athletic said yesterday morning that Bruno Fernandes rejected a contract offer from Manchester United. He says Bruno Fernandes' contract talks are postponed until the summer, having turned down an offer last year. Fernandes wants similar money to the top earners at the club. Fernandes receives £100,000 a week at the moment. He's under contract to Man United until 2025. There's an option of a further 12 months. He is one of our best players, and he's certainly one of the best signings we've made since Ferguson retired. He's been a Manchester United player for 2 years. Got him from Sporting Lisbon back in January 2020. Left forward, I'm going to go with Anthony Elanga. You know, there's a chance that he will start this game against Brentford. Elanga started in the 2-2 draw against Aston Villa last weekend. That was his third Premier League start of his career. And he put a very good performance out against Aston Villa last weekend. You know, his link-up play was good at times. Got in some good positions. He was causing problems. And he had a couple of chances. You know, Anthony Elanga looks a very good asset for our first team squad. Made quite a few first team appearances now. I've been hearing rumours that Elanga could be going out on loan to a championship club. Do you think it'd be the right decision to loan him out? Well, probably so, because it would gain him more experience. You know, Elanga is still very young. He's been part of the club for a long time, you know. Came up our academy. United joined Man United's academy at the age of 12. Towards the end of last year, Elanga committed his future to the club because he signed a new long-term contract with Man United until June 2026 as an option of a further year. Right forward, I'm going to go with Mason Greenwood. Greenwood obviously played in the 2-2 draw against Aston Villa last weekend. I thought he did well. You know, he was greedy at times in the game and he had some chances in the game, but unfortunately he didn't convert them chances. to be honest with you, I think Greenwood has done pretty well since he recovered from COVID. Revert back to 2019, Manchester United offered Mason Greenwood a life-changing amount of money for him to leave. Earlier on this season, Greenwood was upset that Ronaldo always starts. Greenwood made his senior debut for Man United back in 2019. He's been a United player since the age of 7, so he's been part of the club for a long time, and last season Greenwood signed a new 4-year contract. And the striker, I'm going to go with Cristiano Ronaldo if fit. Now, Rangnick has given us an update. He said Ronaldo has trained for the last 2 days, but he said it's not definite he will play against Brentford. Well, Ronaldo has missed Manchester United's last 2 games. Ronaldo has been out with a hip injury. Last week, don't forget, Cristiano Ronaldo gave an interview. And, he's backing Ralph Rangnick to do a good job at Manchester United. And he also said that I'm not at Man United to compete for 6th or 7th. And he said Man United finishing below 3rd is unacceptable. There's a good chance Ronaldo will depart the club in the summer if Manchester United don't improve. Ronaldo the other week was targeted by PSG. Earlier on this season, Ronaldo held crisis talks with his agent George Mendes about his future. And Ronaldo did say he's ready to leave Man United if the club's next manager isn't to his liking. Man United re-signed Ronaldo last summer for 20 million with add-ons included. Ronaldo wears a number 7 shirt, and Ronaldo's got a contract with Man United until 2023, and there's an option of a further year. Ronaldo receives £480,000 a week, so he's the highest earner at Man United at the moment. Since Ronaldo re-signed, he's scored 14 goals in all competitions, and he's got over 800 goals in his career. He's the best player in the world overall. He's won over 30 trophies in his playing career, including 5 Ballon d'Ors. If Ronaldo isn't fit, then I'm going to go with Edison Cavani. So that's how I think Manchester United could line up against Brentford. Obviously, there's no Eric Bailly. He's at the African Cup of Nations. Amad Diallo, he's also at the African Cup of Nations. Paul Pogba, he's still out. But Rangnick recently provided us with some good news on Paul Pogba, didn't he? Yesterday, Pogba was back in training. The other week, Rangnick said that Pogba's going to be out for at least another 4 weeks. Pogba has been out with a hip injury. The other week, don't forget, Pogba denied being offered a new Man United contract. The Sun came out and said that Man United offered Paul Pogba a new £500,000 a week contract that would have made Pogba the highest paid player in Premier League history. There's a good chance Pogba will leave in the summer. He's out of contract at Man United in the summer. Marcus Rashford recently picked up a leg injury. I don't want Rashford to play in this game. We need to keep Rashford out of the team at the moment because Marcus Rashford's been very, very poor since he had that operation on his shoulder. Rashford hasn't been the same player. He missed the first 2 months of the season with that shoulder problem. The other week, Rangnick did admit that he doesn't know why Marcus Rashford is struggling, because he said Marcus Rashford looked good in training. And obviously, you know the news on Anthony Martial. Ralph Rangnick reveals that the Anthony Martial matter has been resolved, because recently Martial denied claims that he refused to play in the game against Aston Villa. Ralph Rangnick came out and said that Martial refused to play against Aston Villa. Martial's leaving Manchester United. Martial rejects loan offers from Newcastle and Tottenham. Martial wants a move abroad. Barcelona, Juventus and Sevilla are all linked. Fabrizio Romano said that Martial is not interested in moving to a Premier League club, but he said he still wants to leave Man United in this January transfer window. Rangnick will make some changes in this game from the 2-2 draw against Aston Villa. This is a must-win game for Manchester United against Brentford. Brentford, they haven't done well recently. Brentford have lost their last two in the league. They lost last weekend to Liverpool 3-0. Brentford is sitting like 14th in the Premier League at the moment. This season has been Brentford's first ever season in the Premier League. Obviously, prior to this season, the last time Brentford were in the top flight was back in 1947. That's over 70 years ago. I do know quite a few of the players that Brentford have got. Obviously, they've got Brian Mbeumo. That's a very good attacking player. They've got Max Haygarth. He's one of the attacking players Brentford have got. Brentford have also got Ivan Toney. He's the best player that Brentford have got. Ivan Toney had an injury earlier on. Had COVID earlier on this season. Brentford also have Marcus Fors. He's an attacking player. They also have Tariqi Fosu. He's out with injury at the moment. They got Sergi Canos. He's a good midfielder. They've got Christian Norgard, Shandon Baptiste. They have Joe Valencia, Charlie Good. Charlie Good's out with injury at the moment. They've got Ethan Pinnock. He had COVID earlier on this season. They've got Frank Onyeka. He's not available for Brentford at the moment because he's at the African Cup of Nations. They have Joshua Da Silva. He's been out with injury. They've got Zanka. He's been out with injury. They've got Pontus Jansson. He's a former Leeds United player. Jansson is a defender. They have Finn Stevens. They've also got Rico Henry. He's just recently recovered from injury. So yeah, they are quite a few of the players that Brentford have. The Brentford manager is Thomas Frank. His contract at Brentford expires next year. He's been Brentford manager for over 3 years now. Before Brentford, Thomas Frank was the assistant at Brentford. Obviously, that was before he was the manager. Before then, Thomas Frank managed Bromby, and then before then he coached Denmark's under-16s, under-17s and under-19s. After Brentford, Manchester United play West Ham. That'll be a difficult game. Now, obviously, you know the news on the transfers. I recently give you the news on Amadou Haidara from RB Leipzig. Reports have said that Man United have verbally agreed a 33 million fee to sign Amadou Haidara. Rangnick held talks with RB Leipzig's chiefs. Amadou Haidara has said he dreams of playing in England, and his favourite club is Man United. Haidara has informed his close friends that he wants to join Manchester United. Newcastle have also been in for him. Haidara has a £33 million release clause. He has a contract with RB Leipzig until 2025. He's been at RB Leipzig since 2019. He's a midfielder and he's the age of 23, so still very young. Before Leipzig, he had a loan spell with Liefering, and before then he was at Red Bull Salzburg. You know, could Amadou Haidara be the first signing of the Rangnick era? Well, revert back to earlier on this season, Rangnick did say that he wanted Amadou Haidara as his first signing as Man United manager. Obviously, Rangnick knows the player well. You know the news on John McGinn from Aston Villa. The Telegraph said yesterday that Man United target Aston Villa midfielder John McGinn in the summer transfer window. Sir Alex Ferguson and Darren Fletcher are admirers of the player. Aston Villa value John McGinn at 40 million. John McGinn is a midfielder. He's the age of 27, so he's highly experienced. John McGinn is one of the best players that Aston Villa have got. He didn't play any part in the 2-2 draw last weekend because he was suspended. McGinn's got a contract with Aston Villa till 2025. He's been an Aston Villa player for 3.5 years and he's played 129 games and he's scored 16 goals. Before Aston Villa, he was at Hibernian, and before then, he was at St Mirren. Man United have been relentlessly linked with Denis Zakaria from Borussia Mönchengladbach. Revert back to last week, there was a lot of narratives coming out about Tariq Lamptey from Brighton. It's recently said that Man United could appoint a new manager this season because Rangnick has endured a difficult start to life at Old Trafford and he's already under pressure. Rangnick has been Manchester United's interim manager for around 6 weeks. He's lost one game so far as Man United manager. You know, Man United lost 1-0 to Wolves at Old Trafford. That was the first time Wolves won at Old Trafford since 1980. You know, when Rangnick first came in, it said, you know, he is Man United's interim manager till the end of the season, and it did initially say that Rangnick would continue in a consultancy role for a further 2 years. If Man United don't get the top 4, you know, Rangnick won't get the consultancy role. I can assure that Rangnick won't get the Man United job on a permanent basis. Revert back to the other week, you know, there was reports saying that Ralph Rangnick's already losing the dressing room at Man United, and it did mention that 17 Man United players are unhappy and, you know, want to leave. But despite that, it did mention that Rangnick will be backed by the Glazers this month, and he got notified that transfer funds are available this month. When Ralph Rangnick first came in, he identified Manchester United's midfield as a weakness. Before Man United, Rangnick was the head of sports and development at Lokomotiv Moscow. Rangnick's made changes since he come in because he brought Ewan Sharp in as an assistant coach and analyst. He brought Chris Armas in as an assistant coach, and he brought Saz Chalens in as a sports psychologist. But who will be Man United's next manager? I think there's a good chance that Mauricio Pochettino will be Man United's next permanent manager. There again, reports said earlier on this week that Man United could miss out on Mauricio Pochettino, despite Pochettino being Man United's #1 target. The Telegraph said Man United face competition for Pochettino. It's an unnamed club. Last week, reports from France said that Man United were in secret contact with Pochettino, despite Pochettino not being Ralph Rangnick's preferred choice to take over at Manchester United. The Manchester Evening News said a couple of weeks ago that Pochettino's move to Man United is almost done, and it said that Pochettino will leave PSG by June. Last weekend, reports from Italy said that Man United are considering Simone Inzaghi as the next manager. He said Atletico Madrid are also in for him. And Erik ten Hag, he could be possibly Manchester United's next manager. Man United are looking for the 5th permanent manager since Ferguson. We've sacked 4 permanent managers since Ferguson. We sacked David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho, and last year Manchester United sacked Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you with. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel if you do consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very soon.